When people talk about learning to say no, they often suggest that if we are people pleaser who struggle to decline requests, we should prioritize our own needs and wants instead of always putting others first. But the challenge is that as a people pleaser, other people's needs can hide our own needs, replacing them with the urgency of belonging and feeling accepted by others. The primary thing for us is avoiding two overwhelming emotions, which are guilt and shame. And that's why we say yes. That's why we are so nice. So when we say yes, even when it's not, we are actually responding to the need we are perceiving, which is the need to be accepted and avoid guilt and shame. We made up this emotional dynamic in childhood. When the external request comes in and it crushes with our inner request, we have learned to suppress part of the inner request because this is the only thing we can do to stop this conflict and being loved and fed and being part of the community. Back then, saying yes meant survival, love, nourishment. Of course, it's not conscious mechanism, rather is a reaction we have integrated so well that it flies, under the radar of our awareness most of the time. So today we still need to be part of a community, of course, because we are a social being and it's still vital. But now we can claim our voice and needs and still have loving people around us. And the funny thing is that this is how we grow healthy relationship, by the way. But most of us still retain the old emotional dynamic that push us to say yes, even though as adults this is an unhealthy and unproductive and eventually destructive for ourselves and our relationships. So how to get over this old partner? Of course, it's a process, and in this video we are going to cover the basic so you can apply those to your life and begin the journey towards healthier choices and a more fulfilling future. Even though we are not ready to respond differently and we don't know how to do that, first thing to do is acknowledge that modeling our action and choices accordingly to those external pressure and requests is the knowledge we acquire when we didn't have any other choice. So now that we've grown up, we are aware that the one that is still in charge of driving our choices is the same kid who learned to shape their wheel as if it were, a cake dough in the mold. We are blind adults guided by 5 years old-ish kids. And that's totally 100% normal. We are all guided by several 5, 3, 7 years old children until we see them, we hear them, and embrace them, setting out our adults' part as leaders again. Without doing this work, saying no will always sound selfish and unfair to us, and we will never be able to maintain our boundaries simply because they don't make any sense. And then we are ready to show them they are safe by claiming our genuine will. So at that point, we are ready to explore, unveil, and claim our genuine needs. So before agreeing to any request, take a moment to consider your own needs and commitment. Ask yourself if saying yes aligns with your goals and your values or not. This reflection will help you make more informed decisions. Still, for the majority, identifying their own genuine needs is still challenging. And that's normal because we are still using only our minds to identify them. So we need to reframe our perception and knowledge about ourselves and life. That's why introducing in your daily life breathing works and different mindful practices and techniques will guide you to a new inner dynamic and chemicals and a new understanding of the world and ourselves that the mind only cannot provide. Those somatic practices allow us to get better in tune with our energy and consider if we are able to spend it to support others or if it costs too much. And then we are more structured and equipped to practice and claim our no. So here's a couple of notes you can take along the way. It involves expressing your thoughts and feeling respectfully but firmly. You can begin by saying no to smaller requests or situations that feel less emotionally charged. As you gain confidence, you can tackle more significant challenges. Like any skill, saying no effectively takes practice. The more you assert your boundaries, the more comfortable and confident you become. Be kind to yourself. Recognize that saying no is an act of responsibility, not selfishness. Treat yourself with the same compassion and understanding that you extend to others. Talk to supportive friends or a therapist, if you will, about your journey to learning to say no and claim your needs. They can provide encouragement and specific guidance. Periodically, make sure to watch and observe how you are doing with setting boundaries and saying no, and celebrate your success and be patient with yourself if you slip up sometimes. And if you want to say no, if you are ready to say no, or you need to communicate your new boundaries, but you don't know how to do and what to say, in this video you find a formula you can use and easily adapt to your situation and circumstances to start fostering healthy relationship with stronger connection and prioritize your own well-being. So thank you so much for being with me again, and see you next week.